Okay. All right. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chidima Onyebuchi, a filmmaker, development enthusiast, and a moderator for today's event. As we can all agree, the film industry currently represents not only some of the fastest growing sectors across Africa, but a pivotal tool that is currently shaping our cultural identities, our expression, and many of the people who are joining today are African filmmakers, and we know how important it is to our lives. Today, technology is making access explode. Our representation is increasing in festivals, awards, across African borders and international festivals. And this is why I am so honored to welcome everyone to this groundbreaking event for the industry. We have people from all over Africa. We saw your entries in the form. Thank you. And beyond celebrating this milestone, which is the launch of the African International Short Film Market, let us welcome ourselves by displaying our flags from wherever you're from in the comment section. I won't be doing this alone. My co-moderator, Lucy Muthui, is a media specialist from Kenya. And for over 10 years, to tell you just how much in good hands you are, Lucy has trained and created channels for creators like you to spread and monetize African stories across continents. She will be taking the panel and the pitch sessions later on. Now to the business of the day. You will all agree with me that short films are an integral part of the history of film and cinema. The first forms globally were short films, and definitely not a new invention in Africa. Fun facts, the first short documentaries were shown in Tunisia in 1905. I don't think anyone from 1905. Yeah, but what is perplexing, and which you would agree, is that despite these, how important it is to cinema, in many circles, it's still sidelined either as calling cards or let me make a short film so I can have a proof of concept for my feature film, or something that you take your savings as a beginner filmmaker, so you say, oh, let me just do this so I can just populate my portfolio. But like you, and as we received from many of your questions and what you want to see today, many of us want to see the narrative shift to one that actually respects short films as a complete art in themselves, and in a way that we're able to build structures to ensure that production is quality and distribution is sustainable. And this is why this event is so important, such an important milestone in the African film industry, where everyone is asking, how will the AISFM achieve this? I am excited to tell you that today we have top industry speakers, panelists, and opportunities later on during the pitch sessions lined up for today. So I'm urging you to pay attention, keep your questions close, ask questions, and use this opportunity to expand your network with African creatives and industry matters. So to set the tone for today's event, it is my pleasure to invite Victor Trudal-Linden. He's a project manager at the GIZ, and the GIZ has been instrumental to the AISFM's journey. And not only that of film sectors in Africa through the Moving Pictures Incubator Program. So I welcome Victor to give a 5-minute keynote speech. The floor is yours, Victor.
Timmer, thank you very much. It's a huge pleasure to be with you today. And in the spirit of short movies, I promise also to keep the keynote short. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without short movies, we wouldn't be here today. And I believe that there's a personal story connected with everyone who is in this virtual space. So for GIZ, the story is very much related to the Kenyan short movie Act of Love by Eric Mangi, which sparked a light to our journey that led us here today. Act of Love has a very strong and emotional message that tremendously motivated us to look out for partners who strive for new solutions to increase the audience for short movies that inspire our life. And we are more than proud, we are more than glad that Benga, Abuiti, and Kagabo and Kubiri, as well as Theodore Ishimbe, decided to walk this way together with us and with our wonderful partners of Some Fine Day Pics. It was in September last year in Lagos when not only we all met for the first time, but also the team of the African international short film marketplace really developed this idea. And it appears to me that in the short movie universe, everything happens in a very short time. And we're absolutely proud to celebrate today already the launch of AISFM. And I hope, despite the muted microphones, all of you could hear the applause. And in this case, I hope it's not a short applause. There's a good reason why marketplaces are located in the center of villages, of cities. And the reason cannot only be found in the matter of trade. Also, in terms of the marketplace that we are celebrating today, this is not only a marketplace about short movies. It's a marketplace that is about connection. It's about connecting African filmmakers to global audiences who are eager for fresh voices. It's about connecting viewers to diverse experience that widen their understanding. It's about connecting investors, creators, distributors, and festivals to the heartbeat of African short film industry. And I'm very happy to see how many are represented and are with us today. But perhaps most importantly, it's about empowering African filmmakers to take charge of their own work and to build collaborative structures that fit this purpose. The African international short film market provides all this if we connect with it. And today is a wonderful starting point. So let's keep things short. Let's stay connected. Let's celebrate short movies and the AISFM. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to all of you. I wish us all a very wonderful launch event. My big thanks also for the panelists that are with us today. I'm extremely excited to learn and celebrate together with all of you for the next remaining 2 hours. Applause again, microphones open, and back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Victor. I think something that struck me from your keynote was how you talked about the marketplace always being the centers of villages. And this is the purpose that, AISFM is building collaborative structures for African filmmakers. And which leads me to my next session. Progressing to that, we have a conversation with the founders. So I will introduce each of them and ask the question. And then, as I said, keep your ears open, keep your questions close. One thing that I will begin with Gbenga Adeoti, who is the executive director of the AISFM. Gbenga is a producer, he's an expert theater practitioner, he's a filmmaker, expert director, and he has dedicated a good part of his creative career to creating opportunities for emerging talents. He founded the Film Joint, which is a platform for promoting, premiering, and distributing short films. Benga, welcome. So my question to you is, you have dedicated so much to promoting short films in your creative career, and I want to ask you in 3 minutes, what exactly is the AISFM? What was the journey here like for you, and what did you see on that journey, walking through those parts that's like, see this over the years that you feel makes it urgent to create the AISFM at this time?
Okay. Good morning, everybody, once again, and thanks for doing this with us. We are really happy. We are really happy to be here. I don't know what to say, but let me just get straight to the question. So, for me, it's a very long journey. Not so long, actually. I think the journey started after I went to a film school. So I studied theater and film, but after then, I've been in the industry. However, in terms of learning, trying to expand the knowledge. I went to another film school, and I collaborated and made a couple of short films, and I spent money during that period. So that was when the journey started for me, because it was more like you're spending so much to make short film, and there's no platform for it. YouTube is one. It's more like the go-to place after YouTube. Where else? So it was a big question for me that when you spend or dedicate time and commitment to make proper short film of high production value, at least there should be some form of value for it or market. Like spending money, you should at least generate some form of revenue or income from that film. So it was a big question for me, and I saw it as a problem then. And the question was, rather than sit down and complain with others, what can you do? So being somebody who is solution driven, I decided to set up a platform. That was Film Joint, and this was 2022, December 2022. So Film Joint was a starting point for me. However, in the course of Film Joint, Film Joint was just more of a part. In the course of Film Joint, the idea for creating a market came to be because, again, I researched a lot. I found out about the American film market, the European film market, the bound film market, and these are proper film market. These are proper business places. So it was more like, okay, we can actually level this up. So that was just sitting at the back of my mind. Yeah. But the opportunity came with some Find Pics, having the moving pictures incubator program, and being somebody who is always reluctant when it comes to program like this. I didn't even know what kind of made me join, but I just entered for it and forget about it. So one day I just saw an email that I've been accepted for firm. I was like, okay, nice. And based on the fact that I now begin to see that, okay, distribution is something that I'm keen into. Yeah, I'm a filmmaker, I direct, I produce, I write, I do other part of production. But because of the urge to form of solve a problem and create a solution for that problem, I find myself navigating towards distribution. So I just wanted to learn more and find myself in a space where I'll be able to do more than what Film Joint is doing. And the moving pictures created that on that platform for me. And I pitched the idea that has been sitting at the back of my mind, which is the film market. And luckily, with the help of Kagabo and Sue, we were able to even refine and develop it, because at then it wasn't well refined. Yeah, but the incubation program helped us to do that. And for the film market, the basic goal is to connect filmmakers with distributors and platform. Yeah, it's more like connecting buyers and sellers together, unlike the Film Joint, which is just a platform that premieres, promotes, and distributes short film. It's more like creating that essential value for short film, making people want to do short film, giving people the reason to do short film. And that's why we have the Film Joint premiere, the Film Joint award, all that just to increase the value of short film and promote short films. So, however, for the marketplace is purely a B2B, B2C business. It's purely business where we connect buyers and sellers together. Just take, for instance, the trade fair. What happens in trade fair? When you go to trade fair, you see people with stand, vendors, you buy things. So we are helping makers there, I believe. And I know most of us know about the American film market, European film market, Durban, maturity film, content market, as the case may be. So it's still the same model, but now focus solely on short film, because there is nothing like that actually for short. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Glinga. The pivotal part is, you saying this is basically a marketplace that connects buyers and sellers. So filmmakers are listening. My next question goes to Kagabo Nkubiri. He is AISFM's head of partnerships. He's a Rwandan filmmaker who has led creative projects in East and Southern Africa. So you can see that the reach of AISFM, yeah, is pretty good. He has championed social themes, art, talent partnerships, and encouraged economic growth through storytelling, generally elevating African voices on the global stage. So, Kagabo, what I'm curious about, and I imagine many filmmakers, film distributors, and other entrepreneurs and professionals listening here, or even just film lovers, I'm curious about the vision and how AISFM intends to get there. It is one thing to have, such beautiful plans, but what is your strategy when I am a filmmaker? Because today, funding and access to traditional distribution channels, the TV, the cinema, the streamers, many of them still prefer long form content. And this remains one of the major stumbling blocks for short films. So, how does the AISFM plan to position the African short filmmakers to leapfrog these issues, let's say in the next 10 years? So, tell me in 3 minutes, what does that vision look like? Kagabo?
All right. Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. That's you asked a lot of questions that I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer them in 3 minutes, but I will try as my best. Yes, it's true that funding and distribution has been mostly focused more on long form content because it's more for a long time they have been more like a staple product or the most dominant product. But if you agree, I think you can agree with me that we have started to see a rise in short form content, and you see this by many platforms that are rising that focuses more on short form content. Also, this is happening due to I think they call it reduction of our our attention span is slightly getting shorter. So there is a rise, and you can also see this by many initiatives like Connect Short. You see this by recently initiatives in Matrix and UNES, the partnership that they had. So there's clearly an interest, and I think what has been an issue was a clear system and a business model of how short film can be monetized, can be showcased and monetized at the same time. And what ISFM and also people have been trying to experiment with different ideas of how they can do this. For example, we are starting to see distributors take different short films and then they bundle them together to demand to have a cinema run or an anthology of short films that becomes a mini series. So there's clearly an interest and people, many distributors of studios are becoming more heavily interested. So there is, and also I can say that in the coming future, many traditional traditional studios or streamers they're starting to be more heavily interested in this. So now ISFM, where ISFM comes in, as while this shift is happening, ISFM wants now to create a marketplace, like Benga said, a marketplace where filmmakers and distributors are going to be meeting and be able to be able to connect and also be able to see make this together. Not only that, but also going to be focusing more on making industry connections, like where we're going to focus more on creating relationships with industry stakeholders. We're going to focus more on creating relationships with platforms. And mind you, our marketplace is a hybrid marketplace. So there is a digital aspect. There's a physical event the first one is going to take place in Nigeria, and the digital marketplace is going to be where it's currently in development right now. It's currently in development right now, and it's a place where once it's launched, it's a place where every filmmaker is going to have an access to a place where they can have an access to all. They can submit their short films. They have access to distributors. And the physical event, which will take place in Nigeria at probably for the first time, probably at the end of the last quarter of the year, it's also going to be a place where we're going to be celebrating short films. Like Victor said, we are going to be focused more on creating a connection. Aside from that, but also another project that we have is we are trying to also be tapping into different film events or different festivals globally, where now will be since most decision makers are there, so we're trying to go there, lobbying for our African filmmakers to see how we can showcase their projects. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. I think I'm especially glad to hear this bridge. We're mentioning Kenya, we're mentioning South Africa, we're mentioning Nigeria, we're mentioning Rwanda. So I'm really happy for this reach or representation because it means that it's going to make the market more inclusive for African filmmakers. And that leads me to my next question. Please welcome with me Theodore Ishimwe, who is the Chief Technical Officer at AISFM. He's an entertainment entrepreneur and investor. He is the CEO of Cinity, a pan-African film streaming platform, which has been taking African storytelling to global audiences. He is also the vice president of the Rwandan Film Federation, and he has lectured at universities and consulted on film media at various institutions. So, Theodore, it's interesting and exciting that your experience is one that has created solutions and opportunities from challenges across borders. But I think one pressing question, is that Africa is one that is so diverse. We want to know, as a filmmaker, if I'm bringing my film to, either the physical or the virtual, since it's a hybrid platform, how is AISFM positioning itself to become a premier distribution platform and fill in the gap for a continent that is so diverse, not only in cultural markers, but sometimes radically fragmented by, different policies, creative industry policies, how much access do I have to the Nigerian film industry, how much access do you have here where they speak this other language? How is AISFM positioning itself to create opportunities from things that, on face value might seem like, oh, they are challenges? Theodore, 3 minutes. Okay, so while we wait for Theodore to pick up, let's hold that thought and let's take a refreshing remark. I want to do that. I want to welcome the project manager from Some Find a Picks, an organization which has partnered in the Moving Pictures Incubator Program, Sharon Mindot, as she gives us her remarks. After this, we will take Theodore's answers, and then Lucy will lead us in the panel session. So as always, keep your questions closed and your ears ready. And don't forget to celebrate the launch by posting your country's flags in the comment section. Thank you. Sharon, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. It's always a great day when filmmakers congregate for the purpose of, creating and being here. And it's a good day because of that. So I wouldn't want to repeat what has been said, but the thing that I can say is that it's time. It's time for us as Africans to come up with solutions that work for us, solutions that meet us where we're at when it comes to the resources that we have. And I feel like ASI, African International Short Film Festival, is exactly what that is. Because the reality of the situation, to be honest, right now, as a filmmaker entering the market, is that not all of us have the resources to get into the market and make the big feature film that we do want to make. So we start with where we are at, with the resources that we have, and that's how we get going, right? But then when we start with where we are at, with the resources that we have, and we get going, we do realize that as much as we give our all to these short films, we don't have anything coming back to us. So how do we milk everything from this project that we've given our all? And we're realizing that there's so much that could come out of a short film. Like a lot of directors, a lot of producers have gotten, once the films do the festival runs, once everything, the exposure, there's so much that can come out of a short film. But then a lot of the times, filmmakers have had to do it on their own, figure it out on their own. Like there's no clear path of how to kind of do it. Maybe you meet someone who's done it before and you have a great conversation, but to be honest, it's a very, very lonely road when it comes to distribution. And I feel like this is such a very timely thing when it comes to figuring out what next with the resources that we have. And congratulations to the team at African International Short Film Market. And I'm very excited to see what happens next. And to be honest, it's a call for us all in Africa really to find solutions that are timely, to work with what we have, to keep on creating. And honestly, when I see a room full of everyone, 72 participants from all around Africa, to be honest, guys, we are here to create. We're here to find solutions, and I'm very excited to have. I don't want to repeat what has been said, and I know I have a short time, but that's it from our end. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. As you said, it definitely is time, and very excited to have this. Is Theodore on hand? Hi, Theo. Okay, so I guess there must be a glitch there. So we might come back to Theo later, or we might be able to take that during the panel session. So please join me to invite Lucy as she leads us in the next session, which is the panel session, which is bound to be very exciting. So get your pens, get all your questions ready because things are about to go to the next level. Lucy?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chidinma, for taking us through that amazing introduction session with the founders and the visionaries who ensured that we got to see this project come to fruition. My name is Lucy Mudhui. I am a media specialist based in Kenya, and I'm really, really passionate about distribution. So I'm happy to see this project come to fruition. And I'm so proud of you, Kagabo, Benga, and Theo. I hope we get to hear from Theo because I'm sure they're all excited about this. And also congratulations to all the stakeholders who've ensured that this came to fruition. Kindly bear with me, I'm on the road. I had to be on the road today, but if I put my video on, just know we are still together. Without further ado, we'll be introducing today's panelists. And today we are discussing the future of short film distribution in Africa. And I encourage all of you to engage us in the comment section. We are going to take questions at the end of the Q&A and at the end of the panel discussion. So my first panelist to come on the screen is Joy Odiete. Joy, you're most welcome. I also want to bring Ife Nabue and also want to bring Samuel Tabandeke. I'll allow my panelists to introduce themselves. So Joy, if you're there, kindly introduce yourself, and my team kindly project her bio on the screen. Is Joy with us? Okay, if as we wait for Joy, Sam, you can come on screen.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, to see so many familiar faces. I'm, first of all, Ugandan from Kampala. Many people seem to remember me as Kenyan, but I just want to clear that up. I'm a filmmaker, and I used to be a performing artist, but also I'm a cultural entrepreneur. Yeah. And an entrepreneur. And this topic is quite interesting for me because as a result of having been in the industry for so many years, since 2009, the challenges seemed insurmountable, but technology has made it very possible for us to reach each other wherever we are. And the pandemic really came at a time. I don't know if it was timely or it was, I mean, it had its difficulties, but I think the maximum benefit was the ability to access people and have panels like this and meetings and access content. So I'm really interested in that space, and I'm really excited about Africa International Short Film Market and for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. Joy, have you been able to join? I guess not. Ike is in the room.
Okay, I'm in the room. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Lucy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ike Nebwe. I'm a Nigerian filmmaker, cultural entrepreneur like Samuel. It's really beautiful to be in the space like this morning. I was just listening and, I'm listening to Benga and, the vision behind the Africa International Short Film Market. And I think it's just brilliant. It's beautiful to see these types of developments. And I really want to say thank you so much to Some Fine Pitch. And I was at the award party in Nairobi, and it was it was a beautiful experience. Thank you for supporting young, as filmmakers, and helping us to put the structure that is so very important in Africa. I make films. I've been making films for over 20 years now, mostly making films for Nigerian cinema and for international cinema. My first documentary I made was premiered at the Berlinale in 2022. And since then, I just literally fell in love with documentary filmmaking. And so I'm just, swaying between narrative fiction and documentaries. And it's really, really amazing the work that you're doing. And I'm very happy to be here and to also learn as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ike and Sam. Is Joy in the session? No worries. Okay, cool. So we can proceed. And I ask the audience, kindly engage with us in the comment section. If you have any question for our experts and panelists, please do so. All right, so I'll start with you, Ike, and I wanted to know, with your experience in both fiction and documentary filmmaking, how can short films be leveraged as powerful tools for cultural storytelling and social change in Africa?
I think that short films have always been a very powerful medium, for storytelling. There's so many reasons why short films are very powerful. For one, they are short, and we live in a society where our attention span continues to shrink. So people find it more interesting to consume content in bite sizes. So the truth is that I think that the future is actually short form content. If we call it short films or short series, I think that we're very close to seeing a time where most of the content that will be consumed in short forms. So this is something to think about for everyone looking at short films and wondering, what's the future of short films and what is the importance of short films in storytelling in terms of preserving our cultures, and not just preserving, but projecting and actually correcting narratives that has been told in the past about Africa that everyone knows that is wrong, but because we haven't really, raised our voices as Africans to counter these narratives, and these narratives have just been running wild all over the place. And short films, it's a very powerful tool because they are easy to make, they are faster to make. Like Victor said, they are quicker to distribute, to a large extent, which I believe that this is one of the reasons why AISFM is very important, because when it comes to distribution, I think that there's not a lot of work being done in that direction, because a lot of times when short films are made, these short films are left in the hands of the filmmakers themselves to market, to distribute, to find audiences, to, like, it's everything about filmmakers. And to be honest, filmmakers would rather not really be bothered about the business side of things and how these things get to the audience, So that's why I'm actually really, really quite excited about AISFM, because it means that we are now coming into that era in Africa where we're seeing structure, where we're seeing diversification, where everybody in the industry is not just here to make films, but also here to help people who make films distribute films, and so we can find all of this support that we need. I also think that because of the advent of technology, that we would be seeing a lot of short films, and short films taking center stage. Because right now, for instance, we do a lot of workshops teaching people how to use smartphones to make films, and it's usually better to start with short films, when you're experimenting with new technology and things like that. So I think that the short film medium has a very crucial role to play, and even more so now that distribution is mostly digital. We just have to be honest. Anybody who is thinking about what is the future of short films and how can we make short films more viable for African filmmakers must be thinking digital. Just before the COVID year, before 2020, I started telling people, which was when we started doing master classes on how to use smartphones to make films. I started telling people that in the nearest future, that content that will be consumed in the continent will be mostly content that are produced by non-professionals. There will be sort of user generated content. And if you look around you now, even if you take, even if you do like a check of the content that you personally consume in a day, in a week, you will notice that most of the content that you consume are actually content that were created by people who are non-professional filmmakers. So that's also something to think about when we're discussing short films. I think I'll stop here, and I hope I haven't gone way beyond the question.
No. That was like really good explanation. Thank you so much. So I'll come to you, Sam, and I like that you say that you're a cultural entrepreneur, and I always have this qualm with filmmakers. We don't see our craft as a business. So coming to think of the film industry as a business, that's the first way of thinking about how you can monetize content and how you can make profit out of it. And the question I want to ask, with all these platforms that are coming and going, and we know what is happening in the African ecosystem, what are the strategies you can advise to filmmakers who are creating short content on how to monetize? In short, where is the money for short films?
A very pertinent and complex question, I will say. First of all, I agree with everything Ike said. There's a wonderful opportunity with the smartphone, and same as in Nigeria, we're doing the same in Uganda. We're going around the country, different people are training people to use smartphones. It's in your hand. It's an avenue through which to tell stories. We're already telling stories on Instagram through our different short reels. We're already telling stories on YouTube. This is not new. This is something that already exists. And I think that we can definitely utilize that as something. Building platforms is great. The challenge is that there is the promotion of the platform, but also content. Content is the driver more often than not. And it's not necessarily the user experience, because we've used all manner of platforms throughout the years. And I can tell you that I can bet that 90% of us, or a very large percentage of us, are not concerned about what the platform looks like. What we are concerned about is the content. And that content exists throughout the continent. Different countries are different cultures, there's stories to tell. So having said that, I believe that if we utilize the existing platforms, which is YouTube, which is Instagram, which is TikTok, some countries, for example, with TikTok, don't have monetization. So one of the ways that you could navigate that is by offering some content for free on TikTok. Oh, Ike, I think you're saying something. Okay, great. So one way is to offer some content on TikTok for free because they tend to have a larger reach, and then direct people to either your YouTube where you can have a subscriber base. There's a membership option on YouTube where you can monetize, which is not the ads option, right? The other way is once you've built up a following, a large enough following, you can talk to brands to put adverts, 30-second ads at the beginning of the film, in the middle, and at the end. These are things that you can already embed. And it's not a new way to view content because we already have adverts on regular TV. Internet is not a barrier anymore. Many years ago, we used to say that, and I had that theory as well, but TikTok is the largest, I mean, let's say of all the platforms, I think TikTok takes the largest amount of data because it's live streams, live. And that, so people are on TikTok, posting on TikTok, watching TikTok all day long. This is an opportunity. When you look at China, for example, they have these ultra short dramas. And if you've had the opportunity to see them on Instagram, I mean, there's also other platforms like Real Shorts and things. You're hooked for 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And then at the end of it, you have to watch the second one and the next one and the next one. And at a certain point, if you want to watch, like, say, the fourth or the fifth, they'll say, now you pay. Okay. So maybe there's a way to monetize that through, again, the YouTube option. Yep. So I'll stop for now with that. Because for me, traditional streaming platforms like Netflix or Showmax don't offer as much money, and someone may crucify me if they have that in their strategy, but it is my observation over the years. And so we have to now start thinking about the alternatives that exist that most people are using and make that money there. Thank you. I hope I've not confused everyone. Try not to go around in circles.
They will let you know in the comment section. So guys, please engage with us in the comment section. Comments, feedback, and questions are most welcome. I'll come back to you, Ike, and I just want to know, with your experience in the industry, where do you see, or what do you see as the trends for the next 5 years? Because we have to always project ahead. What do you project is going to be taking place? Because this launch happening at this time is probably one of the best things that have happened, because in the distribution space, we've always had the dilemma of what next for short films. So what do you project we should be bracing ourselves for the next 5-10 years? Ike?
Yeah, sorry, I missed the question, please. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm asking what do you project would be the next trends for short films in the next 5-10 years?
Okay, so without thinking too much about it, my projection is that, of course, distribution will mostly be digital. It would be online. It would be TikTok and things like that, right? People will consume more short films on TikTok. And I think that, I believe that the AISFM team is looking at this because this is the fastest way to monetize short films, actually. When we're thinking about monetization of short films in terms of traditional means, it's still lots of challenges, really. But when the distribution and monetization is focused on the digital platforms like TikTok, like Facebook, Facebook monetization is getting better, and TikTok monetization is getting better as well. So I would imagine that there will be a lot more short films that will be made for digital platforms, for social media, short films that will be shot intentionally to be distributed on TikTok, for instance. So even though TikTok has been trying to promote people to upload content on the widescreen format, as opposed to the usual portrait format, because they want to compete with YouTube. TikTok is seeing a future where people would have TikTok on their smart TV and just let it just be scrolling, and just like you do YouTube. And so that's why they're doing it. So it's important also for filmmakers to understand these trends and to prepare for these trends. Cinema distribution, honestly, I don't have a lot of, I would not put too much energy towards that direction. If I'm projecting for the next 10 years, I would focus a lot more about capturing the social media audiences, because when the streaming comes in, you'll be happy. When your YouTube short films hit 2 million views in 1 week, you're talking. Aside from what Benga was saying about distributors, putting like anthology of short films and putting Putumantu, collections together and things like that. Beyond that, I think that where the future is on social media, actually. And I don't think that filmmakers have started looking at social media as a very powerful distribution medium. I think that we see what the skit makers are doing, and we'd be like, oh, just skit makers and stuff. But if we're not careful, skit makers will replace filmmakers. That's just the reality of things. If you check again, do an audit of consumption, of content consumption, you will be shocked how much less people watch films and how much more people watch skits. So imagine good short films made well playing in that market where skits are playing. That's what I would like to see in the coming years. And that's for me, as a brand, as an entrepreneur, we're definitely looking in that direction, because that's just what it is. It's easier, it's faster, it's cheaper. There really not much gatekeeping, so you can actually curate your content and create your campaign and just hit it. On TikTok now, you can actually do series. You can do a series on TikTok. So I haven't seen a lot of filmmakers taking advantage of that, especially African filmmakers. You can actually do a series now. You can take a story and break it into bits. I haven't really had time to work on it, but I've been romancing this idea of doing a TikTok series. It's something as crazy as even 1 minute episodics. So each episode is 1 minute, or each short film is 1 minute, and people just consume it that quick. And if it's very gripping and very engaging, and you say, oh, every Thursday we're dropping a new episode, and every Thursday, and people are, and then there's so many other things you can do live. We can do how do you call it now, premieres, for instance, on TikTok, and you can invite people. And I mean, there's just so much to look at in terms of trends in the next 5 to 10 years. But in conclusion, I think that social media will play a very important role in content distribution, in short films distribution in the next 5-10 years.
Thank you so much, Ike. That was very eye-opening, and I'm loving that all your conversations are also mentioning how the digital platforms have disrupted this space, and those are opportunities for us all to explore. The final question, I'll have Sam take it, and then I'll take the audience questions. So Sam, being an award-winning filmmaker, and for your short films, even winning at FESPACO, what would you advise filmmakers to, look out for, or what makes an award-winning short film for film festivals?
Hey, hey. This is a tough one. To be really frank, I think it really depends, and I'm speaking based on an assumption. I think it really depends on how timely the content is that you're putting out there, the storytelling. And I wouldn't want to say how well it is made, because that is subjective. It's really based on where you sit within the rest of the field of competitors. If your work is, if your voice compared with everyone else is fresh, and if the way you approach the subject matter is unique, because like the film I made, Ziwa, it's about love, right? At the core of it, actually, it's about reconciliation. And at the core of it, it's about these two women who have this man that is passing away that they both love. And normally someone would put that as a cat fight, but I literally approach it from a different point of view. Yeah. What if they don't fight? What is that conversation like? So my assumption is that maybe they looked at my film and they imagined that this is a new way to approach already existing subjects. And I believe that that's really important as a filmmaker, to define what is it that you want to say in the world? How different do you want to speak about a subject? It's not just enough to talk about love. It's not just enough to talk about despair and whatever it is that you want to say. You have to come to the story and realize, okay, what is there that I can extract that would be different from what everyone has done before? And that is difficult. And I will say it's like alchemy. I can't turn lead into gold each time. And I will say more often than not, it is luck. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam and Ike. Comment section, I see questions are coming in. Thank you so much. But before we get there, I'm told Theo has fixed his mic. So Theo, could you just come and introduce yourself to the team? And the question that Chidinma had asked is, as you're waiting for him to come on screen, is how is AISFM positioning itself to be a premier distribution platform and filling the gap for a continent so diverse in cultural markers and sometimes radically fragmented policy and creative industry policies? Over to you, Theo. Theo, are you there? I think he still has connection problems, but no problem. I think we'll get to hear from him. And I want to introduce one of our other panelists, because after the panel discussion, we are going into a pitching session. And my team kindly put Tolu on the screen. Tolu, are you there?
Hello, hello. Good morning. I want to say a big thank you to AISFM for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a sincere privilege. I hope everyone can hear me. All right, and it's a sincere pleasure. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes, you can hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tolu will be part of the jury, will be overseeing the pitching sessions after the panel. So thank you so much, Tolu, for being here. Theo, have you fixed your audio device? And if not, I request Chidima to help me introduce the next session for the pitching session.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going into the pitching session now. 4 participants were chosen to pitch their short films to the judges. And so we're going to go into breakout rooms. And it's going to be exciting because this is going to be live. So they're going to tell the judges their films and receive feedback on the spot. And so you as a filmmaker, I advise you to, listen in, look at similarities and how you can do the same thing as the judges are going. So over to the team.
Thank you, Chidima. Before we go into the breakout rooms, maybe we can answer 1 or 2 questions. And I see our panelists are there. So Chidima, you can help me here to read some of the questions that we've received. This is Mbasa Tetsana. I hope I said your name right. Hello, everyone. I trust you're well. It's an honor and pleasure and privilege to be here. There have been engagements around content creators versus storytellers and filmmakers. Do you think there's a difference? And furthermore, with the rise of interest and investment in and of content creation, how can short films navigate your YouTube ETC to access audiences and but also become profitable? I think Sam, you can take this because this also spoke about monetization opportunities on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you, Mbasa. I personally will say one thing. Content creators, short form content creators, storytellers, filmmakers, they're all doing the same thing. They're telling stories. And I think that if obviously there is a clear line, content creators, we tend to look at them as your user-generated content. So that's how I classify them. And then filmmakers are, well, let's just say professionally generated content because it's a clear distinction there. But what I will say is that even though there's that distinction, we're all telling stories. And whether it's Mr. Beast on or whether it's Bong Joon-ho, all of us are in the process of telling a story about the world. That's how I view it. Interest and investment. Okay, so like I mentioned, YouTube is, for me, if anything, it's probably one of the most successful platforms. TikTok is coming and probably will surpass it very shortly. But for me, in terms of creating access, in terms of monetization, in terms of audience, in terms of reach, YouTube has done that. TikTok still on the monetization front is still difficult, and you'll have to register an account probably in Germany or the UK. But I think it will come if there is a lot of demand. As I mentioned earlier, the option for channels on YouTube has recently come up. I discovered it recently. So you can have members, like how you have Patreon, and people can actually subscribe to your channel. And as they receive content every month, for example, I used to subscribe to Bloomberg, and every month I'd pay $2. So that's a really small amount of money. We have unlimited access to the content. You're already making it. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to have that option available. There is an option for obviously advertising, but that's if you source the adverts. Now that is a long game, a hard game, because it's about pitching to people and saying, come and advertise. But if you have a large following, the advertisers tend to find you. You know, they're always looking for the next best thing. So what you should focus on, I believe, is tell engaging stories, have a unique voice, have a unique approach to the world and what you want to say. I believe it is possible to become profitable over time. So you having just on YouTube is not enough. You should have on multiple platforms because different audiences are on different platforms. Yeah. Tololupe wants to say something.
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead, Tolu.
I just wanted to just add slightly, just a different, not a different perspective. It just builds on what you just said. I come from the world of advertising, and the audience. There are two kinds of audiences. The audience that is, the people that are watching, and there are also clientele. When I started making short films, my short films got me the attention of certain people who work for brands. So I've had, because I do a lot of impact storytelling, short films. They're mostly paid for. So it's sort of similar to like making commercials, in the sense that the more work you make, and if you curate your work and make it really well, you will get people that will pay for it. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily imply compromise, because it's really, really core storytelling. But sometimes it's for a cause, and core storytelling is a way, if you really, really, do well with your craft, you can have it sponsored, or it can be paid for, or sometimes they just want, because you're a filmmaker that has a specific voice, they won't make it with you because they know what you kind of stand for. So I just wanted to add that perspective. Thank you so much, Samuel. That was some great insight there.
Thank you so much, Tolu. I think this goes to one of the founders. And the question is, how is AISFM positioning itself to be the premier distribution platform and filling the gap for a continent so diverse in cultural markers and sometimes radically fragmented policy and creative industry policies? So I think Benga or Kagabo can take this.
Sorry, can you come again with the question?
The question is, how is AISFM positioning itself to be a premier distribution platform in Africa?
Okay, first things first, we are not necessarily distributing, so we are not a distribution platform in quotes. We are a connecting place where filmmakers can easily find distributors, a platform who will be interested in this film. So just take, for instance, a link up place. Yeah. So we are not necessarily taking films and then distributing for you. We are not serving as a distributor. We are basically serving as a connecting, as a joint for filmmakers and the distributors or platform who would be interested in short film. Like Kagabo mentioned, part of the idea we intend to explore is to make collection of film. For instance, Netflix did the African Folklore Reimagined, where they collected, I think 5 short films, maybe 6 short films, if I'm not mistaken, from different parts of Africa. So things like that are part of what we would explore. So take, for instance, in our market, we can have film executive or platforms who maybe have specific films that they would like to put on the platform. So basically, the least we can do is to do our own pick, maybe the best of the best in Africa, yeah. And then we have a showcase soon where we have these film executive or distributors or platform, and they have a private screening of these films, and whichever one they are interested in, whether it's a single or collection, they go for it. So it's a win-win for the filmmaker as well, because again, apart from distributing the film itself, there's still other benefits. Benefits like workshop, teaching session. So if you have a project in development as well, you can benefit in the film market. So it serves beyond just you selling your short film, but creating more opportunity. Because again, I think like Mr. Ike mentioned, most of us uses short film as a starting point. So you could have a short film for a proof of concept or a feature film that you want to do. So the market will serve also for that purpose. So yeah, these are means that we're exploring. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know we have so many questions in the chat room, but we are quite pressed on time, so kindly allow us to go into the next session. So we'll be breaking out into the two breakout rooms for the pitching sessions that will be conducted. One room will have Sam, and the other room will have Tolu. So let's engage also in those sessions and learn together, and then we'll regroup after a few minutes, 30 minutes or so. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, welcome. Welcome. I hope we had a fantastic time at the pitching sessions. Note that it doesn't just end here. You can use this opportunity to reach out to the industry masters and other creatives across Africa to begin to build your networks. To round out the session, I hope you have learned a lot. I hope you continue working on your films and making this a reality. I would like to invite Lucy to tell us to invite the team to tell us what's next for AISFM as we close. It's been a pleasure hosting you, and thank you so much. Signing out, Lucy, here you are.
Thank you so much, Chidima. I hope everyone got to learn a thing or two from the pitching sessions. I hope you took the feedback well, and we look forward to hear what the judges thought about the concepts that were pitched. And I'd like to invite back on screen Benga to let us know. I know he mentioned in the beginning there's a physical event coming up. So we want to know what's next for AISFM, and also for those who are pitching, and how do you pitch content to AISFM. And even as we come to a close, I just want to say a big shout out to everybody for tuning in and believing in African film. Let's continue supporting and collaborating with each other. I'm really happy to see the entire continent represented here. Let's continue working together. If you have an event, let us know. That's the only way we will grow and elevate our industry, if we share and if we continue to collaborate. So I invite you, Benga, and feel free to also tag along the team Kagabo as well as Theo to just come let us know what is next. And we look forward to connecting with everybody across the industry, and all the best to all the people who pitched today. Thank you. Benga?
Okay, thank you very much. Without wasting more time, I just want to say a very big thank you, first of all, to everybody who are able to make it for the AISFM virtual launch. It means a lot to us, honestly. So what next? Okay, before mentioning what next, just to mention that everyone who have pitched, who have had the opportunity to present their project. So we have a partnership with Film Joint as well. So Film Joint will be catering for once your film is produced or done, just simply let us know. You would have benefits from Film Joint, like opportunity to have your film being premiered on the Film Joint platform, and also be shortlisted for the Film Joint Awards, another distribution benefit from Film Joint. So yeah, you have that for you who have pitched, you have that benefit coming from Film Joint, as well as other. So you would also be our first beneficiaries from the African International Short Film Market as well. So hang on tight to more information coming from in that regard. Yeah, so what next? So like Agabo have mentioned, we are currently developing our digital platform, yeah, which is going to be running year round, and as well as planning for the main physical event by the last quarter of this year. So we are looking at between September, October, we'll be having our first event in Nigeria. So more information to that end would be passed across. So do well to follow us on all our social media handles: Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. Follow us to get more information about us soon. I don't know if my partners would also have anything to contribute to what I just say. Yeah, Kagabo, to you.
Yes, I would also like to thank everyone who was present here today, and it was really, since we are at beginning, and I'm so surprised with the amount of people who have managed to show up. And while we're still navigating the challenges that faces this distribution. Yeah, one of the things that I would encourage people to follow us and to be able to get to know things that are coming, and also we have different programs that are coming. We have different sessions like this teaching sessions that are coming. I think most of the things Benga have mentioned it. I don't think there's much more that I can add to what you have covered.
Okay, Lucy, so I think that will be all, but before we sign up, or we sign out rather, I don't my last words from our panelists, Mr. Tulu Ajayi, Mrs. Samuel, and Mr. Ike, just final words before we call it a day.
Yes, just like I've had this conversation with you, is as much as possible in all your countries, try to have TV partnerships. One of the key things really important is like the conversation is to go into television. You'll build strong audiences that are not, the internet. So as much as possible, bring many people on board to watch all these films by bringing television into it. In Nigeria, in Rwanda, as well as Kenya, everywhere in Africa, so we can all talk to each other. Let Nigerians see Kenyan films, Rwandan films, and let everyone be a part of the conversation since TV is there. So we can build a very strong audience with the brand. By the way, sponsorships will also come with those kind of partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I'd just like to say great kudos to Benga and your team. You guys are doing such a great work. And I would just like to build on what Tolu Ajayi had said. I think the success of this venture will depend a lot on partnerships. It's like you need to really, really focus a lot on partnerships, and partnerships with platforms, TV, networks would be very, very important. Also, think about funding so that if you can access funding to bring to these filmmakers who are making these short films and, pair them with these partnerships that you're going to be creating. Work very closely with sales agents. I noticed that Wangeshi was in the program, but I guess she couldn't make it. But people like Wangeshi, you should really work very closely with them. International sales agent, encourage filmmakers to always get sales agents and distributors in a conversation as they are planning their films, so that it's not after they have made the film, because it's just the same thing that applies even for feature-length movies, and even more difficult for short films. So I guess my last words would be kudos, focus a lot on partnerships, create projects that will push this project forward. Well done.
Thank you so much. I'm waiting for the team to share the contacts in the chat box. We'd love to connect with you after this. I know there's so many people in the chat box saying that they missed the opportunity to pitch. This is not the end, everybody. This is just the beginning. There's so much more lined up, and we'll be sharing what's going to be happening through our social media pages. So our team, kindly share how people can access us. So we are on all social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X as well. And it's been such
Any last words? Okay. Any last words for Mr. Samuel? He hasn't said.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes. Sorry, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. No, it's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here, and I'm really, really excited about this initiative. I remember there was an initiative many years ago, Torino Short Film Market, and they even had programs where they could have shorts turned into features. So I think the future for this is bright and it's most necessary. But one of the things that would be also interesting is regular sessions throughout the year would be good, and not sessions on production particularly, but in terms of reaching out to the market. If we did something for the the Great Lakes Creative Producers Lab, where we had decision makers speak to the participants of our lab. We had Sundance, Sunny Side of the Docks, Atlas workshops. So they were able to give guidance for them in how to approach them. So if you get like people who are buying content, I know Lucy is involved in this area. I know Heta is on the call, I believe. So there are different people in the ecosystem who are looking for material. So that connection is really important. And I know that you're working hard to make this happen. So congratulations. And all has been said. I'm here if you need support. And I'm sure everyone in this room is pushing forward for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel. I think also for the sake of the people in the chat who'd like to connect with you, feel free to share in the chat box and the contact or your socials that you're comfortable sharing. And this recording will also be shared with everyone who's tuned in. So thank you I hope you registered through the link that we had shared, so because we'll share the recording there. I think that's it from me. We are right on time. We had purpose to finish at 1 p.m. Kenyan time. We appreciate you all. We just take maybe a minute and take maybe one comment from the audience, and then we can call it a wrap as we're waiting for the panelists to share their contacts in the chat box. Thank you. Any comment from the audience? Feel free to unmute yourself and say something before we close.
What a great session. I'm really looking forward to the next sessions and even the big event. So congratulations, Benga, Theodore, and Kagabo, and to the panelists as well. Very well moderated as well, Lucy. So thank you. I really enjoyed this session.
Much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Let's connect on socials, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are across this beautiful continent and world of ours. And I hope to see you very soon in one of the film conferences somewhere in the world. Bye. Bye from me.